Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ask Us Anything, and we are delighted that you're joining us tonight.
I think we've missed. Let's see.
Two
We
weeks.
weren't here last week because of Memorial Day, and the week before we were on the road somewhere, and here we are. So we're glad we missed you guys, and we're glad to see you all checking in and signing up. And you know that you can ask questions or make your comments over on the right. And we thank you for all the different folks from different platforms. We got you here from Facebook and X and Instagram, no, LinkedIn and YouTube. And thanks to Phyllis Carr in Iowa, who's moderating and helping with the questions on the screen, and in YouTube, Chris Colley is over there in Illinois, taking care of all that. And we are in our fifth wheel in southwestern Michigan, in our Montana fifth wheel. So,
And you can tell the sun is peeking through the clouds.
yeah, it's been mostly clear all day today. It's been great weather. So we got a little bright sun right now, but it'll go quickly. So we're glad to see you all. It's going to be a busy week for us. We just got back from Arizona. I hope you all saw the video we shot. We had such a whirlwind trip in Arizona last week, or the week before. I can't keep track now. But it was fun, and we put together a pretty good vision. We went to look at some RV lands for sale, but it really is more of a travelogue of all the things to do around the area. And now we're off to do some more of our reviews, and I don't want to say too much about them, but we have some RVs we're going to review this week, and we'll probably start posting tomorrow night as we camp in the first of them. A little hint of where we are and what we're doing. And then a week from tonight, Lord willing, we should be coming to you from Shipshewana, Indiana, where we will be hosting our summer Groove and Gather meetup with the Temptations and all of our followers in Shipshewana, Indiana. You tired?
No.
Okay.
I'm fine.
I'm tired just talking about it. Big week for us. Our new book came out, and we want to tell you about that. And that is our Explorer's Guide to the Bourbon Trail. And you can check that all out at on our books page. And I hope you guys, if you're looking for a great summer trip, this is a fun trip. And we have lots of stuff on there. We'll put that up on the screen a little later on when I talk about it again. But since we haven't seen you, let's go to your comments and your questions, and we'll do our best to answer them or ignore them if we can't answer them. We'll go from there. There's our friend Bradley Olson.
Thanks for the recommendation on water hoses from your blog. It's nice to get quality products based on reviews from people who you trust. Any big plans to celebrate 500 this week?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we are working on the podcast now. This will be, thank you for noticing that, Bradley. This will be our 500th podcast episode. That's 500 weeks pretty much in a row that we have done the podcast, and that works out to 9.58 years. But actually, there are more than 500 episodes. We didn't start numbering the episodes until, I don't know, a month or two in. So it's probably even more than that. This is probably, episode 540, something like that. Because we did a lot of special podcasts, like, different events, like RV shows, things like that.
So 500 down and 500 to go.
Yeah. So our big celebration is just going to be talking about it. And, but we're pretty excited. That's quite a milestone. I had no idea when we started this thing that we would do 500 episodes of the podcast.
I remember people you told that you were going to do this and they didn't even know what a podcast was.
That's it. Yeah. Nobody knew that there was even such a thing as a podcast. I mean, RVers did. Some people did, but RVers are not the most technology.
How about a CEO of a company?
Yeah, that's right. One of our big, that is right. You're absolutely right. He's the CEO of an RV company, had no idea what a podcast was. None. I told him we were doing a podcast. And it was maybe a year later, his son came back, or he came back and he says, yeah, my son told me all about podcasts. I said, yeah. He didn't know. Can you imagine that, not knowing what a podcast was? Well, that's the way it was 10 years ago. It was,
well, you've always been a big kid.
There was one other couple, John and Kathy Huggins, and they did Live in the RV Dream. That was actually a radio show that they kind of turned into a podcast. And I think they did about 400 episodes before Kathy got sick and they had to come off the road. But I don't know of any pure podcast that has had longer run than we have, at least in the RV community. And I think that they were about the only other ones. The Winds were on, Gone with the Winds, and they were more of a YouTube channel. But they left RVing shortly after, I don't know, I was probably back in 2013, 2014. They got a boat and they've been doing stuff on boats ever since. So there may be somebody earlier, but I don't think so. Not pure podcasts. So 500 episodes. We're letting that sink in. We're feeling real good about that. So thank you, Bradley, for noticing that. Linda Ward.
Hello from Robbinsville, New Jersey, where I'm trying to recover from my 50th high school reunion. We had a fabulous time. I'm so glad you had fun.
Yeah. She's trying to recover from it. She must have had a lot of fun. But then again, it's 50 years, right? Sharon Childress.
And hello, Mike and Jen from Northwest New Jersey. We had a beautiful weekend. Wish we were coming to the meetup, but grandson's high school graduation on June 12th took priority.
Well,
it should
as
take
well it should, Sharon.
priority.
Enjoy it, and it's really fun to watch your grandkids graduate from school and realize how fast time goes by. So enjoy that time. That's great. Jeff Burke.
Comment: Glacier National Park plow crews grapple with deepest snow in more than a decade.
And didn't we just have, we're working on the podcast now, and that's one of the stories we're talking about that we'll release on Wednesday.
Yeah, avalanches and snow.
Didn't they actually cleaned a bunch of the road, but then there were a couple of weeks ago avalanches that now they got to re-clean them.
Yeah, they got to.
Record snows this winter at Glacier National Park. But when we learned at Glacier that it snows there every month of the year, up in the mountain there. So enjoy it. Yep, big month. There, it might not even be open until July, the road. KK Kayak.
Hello from Wisconsin. A beautiful day here with sunshine.
You're just across Lake Michigan, which is just over that way from us right now. So enjoy it. James Massey.
The sun is finally out in Texas. Still hot, but drier.
Yeah, I heard you guys had record heat. The heat that you normally don't get until August, you had it in late May. That's amazing. And the hurricane season has started, and they're all saying this is going to be one of the worst hurricane seasons we've ever had. So we'll see if that's right too. But the weather sure is weird. Robin Ostermeyer.
We had a fabulous 2-week trip in Michigan and the Upper Peninsula, thanks to the 7-day adventure guides.
Robin, I was thinking about you last week and thought that this was your time up there and wondered how you did. And you picked a perfect month. You had, I think, a really great week of weather. So enjoy. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And thank you for going there with our books. You can find that book, The Guides to Michigan, as well as our newest book, which is a travel guide exploring the Bourbon Trail. Right there. There's the Bourbon Trail book, RV Bourbon. And you don't have to drink bourbon to enjoy the Bourbon Trail.
We point out a lot of fun things to do and restaurants to go to, things to see. So it's not restricted to just people who want to drink bourbon.
Including a bullet hole in a tavern supposedly made by Jesse James. There you go. Bardstown, Kentucky. Yep. Lots of stuff there. Jack Partain.
Apparently, Canada has questionable government regulations too. A current pet vaccination should be sufficient regardless of when chipped.
That is for going into Canada. Coming out, we'll talk about more about it. We finally got a response from the CDC. It's still a mess, Jack, and the vets don't know. They don't have any of the forms ready. They're rushing this through August 1st, and the forms aren't even going to be done until July 15th. So in our case, we're going to Canada in the middle of July, and the forms that we need to get Bo back from Canada are either not going to have been done or just recently went online, which then means our vets got to figure it out. The vet has to figure out the form and send it to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which then receipt of which then is used by the CDC to allow Border Patrol to let the dog back in. This is a mess.
All I got to say is really a good thing that Bo has a lot of fur and is a sled. Well, he's not really a sled dog. No, elk-hounds are too independent to be a team player.
No, he's not a team player.
He is ready for life in Canada.
Yep.
If they don't let him back in the States,
yep, Bo's ready.
He loves snow. In fact,
Yeah.
he's probably got his paws crossed.
He's probably going to,
He can live in Canada his senior years.
Yeah. It's the dumbest piece of legislation I've ever, it's not legislation, it's rules. And it's just bureaucratic gobbledygook.
I mean, it just terrifies you that for some reason they would put your dog in a kennel.
Oh, they would
think
of people.
Pet.
There are people who have, 2-month-old dogs that are going to go into Canada and they can't get their dog back. You cannot bring your dog back unless it's 6 months old. And then it has to have the vaccine and it has to be microchipped. So nuts. I won't say any more. I'm not a big fan of this though. Ken Cooper.
Camping at Lewis and Clark.
In Iowa. Iowa.
Thought it would be fun, but only about 65 degrees. See, as a Michigander,
you got your glasses on.
I can't see.
She said I thought it would be full, but it only about 65% full.
Well,
close.
Maybe I'll go back to my other glasses.
Yeah, close, but not quite. Yeah.
Between the sun and those are the computer glasses.
Following the Lewis and Clark expedition is pretty fun trip. And it's pretty amazing. I don't know if you've read the book Undaunted Courage, Ken, but pick that up. It's a story of the Lewis and Clark expedition, and it's just an amazing story. That was the equivalent in 1830 or whatever it was. That was the equivalent of the moon landing to us, the expedition, the Lewis and Clark expedition to the west. So interesting story. Thanks for checking in. Richard Guerrero.
Finally, nice weather in Massachusetts, but the pollen is horrible. Welcome to the club. Washed the MH motorhome 4 days ago for a trip to New Hampshire, and it is now covered in pollen.
Yeah, we've been.
Yeah, you can write your name on, like, if you have the windows open on your furniture.
Yeah. We had all the pollen in Florida, and then we had the pollen season in Tennessee, and we just finished it in Michigan. So it's all there.
Yeah, that pollen.
Yep. Steve Anderson.
Do you have any suggestions on securing a Starlink dish from theft?
Well, it doesn't
keep it so it won't get stolen.
Well, it doesn't do much good to steal it because it's got to be paired to your router, and your router is usually inside.
But not all thieves are real smart.
We have
the dish that sits on the ground.
Yeah, if you got, I would get a big, maybe a chain and a big bicycle, one of those big bicycle locks, run it through the chain, run the chain through a picnic table or whatever is secure, and hook it up there. Or, get it on a telescoping mast and mount that on your RV and get it up off the ground, which will give you a little better signal anyway. But I have not heard of a problem of dishy thefts, but there probably is. There probably is. Road Trick Buddy.
What's for dinner? And pick me up.
We're on the way. What's for dinner?
We had a burger.
We had burgers. Yep. Yeah, I had an extra one for you, but you weren't there, Road Trip Buddy. So Bo ate it. Yeah. Richard again.
What is your preference on placing the water pressure regulator?
I put it on the spigot.
Okay.
On the water outlet. And then the hose attaches to it. So get the amount of pressure coming out of the spigot.
Hello, Mike and Jen, and everybody watching. Congratulations on number 500.
Well, thank you, Renee. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We kind of do these episode 498, 473, whatever they were. And it was just a week or two ago that we said, hey, we have episode 500. Wow. So next week it'll be 501 and nobody will remember. But we are pretty excited about 500. Thank you. James Massey.
Interesting that your Arizona host carried a pistol, maybe for snakes or other.
James, you must not have spent much time in the West. Everybody carries a pistol out west in the desert. Everybody does. Yeah, for snakes. And his was just a 22 with snake shot in it. And I asked him if he's seen any snakes, and he's been out there, what did he say, a year and a half? And he had one snake. He saw one snake. So
Well, it must have been a scary snake because he's carrying the gun on his hip
part of the,
all the time.
It's part of the
Part of the
West.
fun?
It's part of the West. I'd carry one if I was out there on my hip.
Surprised.
I'd probably have
probably
two.
have one on now,
Yeah.
for all I know.
No, I don't have my cowboy hat, but yeah, everybody out there carries one, and it's just for snakes, basically.
Yeah, we found that in Tennessee too.
Yeah, Tennessee,
in Linden,
our property in Tennessee. We went into the downtown coffee shop, and it's kind of like a hippie couple that run it, and he admits he was an ex-hippie, and he's got a ponytail, older guy, he's in his 60s, maybe older, I don't know. And there he was with the Bible and a six gun no, he had a big 45 on his hip in this little tiny town of Linden, which is, but everybody there carries them, and they carry them for snakes. They have, we've not seen any, but they all carry.
The one person that we met that didn't carry the snake shot,
yeah,
because he was.
Yeah, there was one guy, and I said, and he had on, he was carrying a 9mm. And I said, is that for snakes? And he said, yep. And I said, are you shooting snake shot? And he said, nope. I said, it's kind of hard to hit a snake with the handgun. And he said, nope. And I said, how come? And he said, United States Marine Corps. So, yeah, everybody carries a pistol out there. Looks good. It's part of the costume. Jenna Berry King.
Camping at Goose Island, BLM.
The BLM campground in Moab, in Utah. Beautiful.
You know what you've done? You've made the
you can't see because
forever away.
Well, if I bring it too close, they'll be looking at your nose. My nose will get really close. I can bring it closer though. Ooh. Look how smooth that is. It's making a lot of noise. So, that better?
Well, that might be better. Yeah.
Okay. All right. One of our favorite places. Off the grid camping in Moab, Utah. The only thing that bothers me is all the Jeeps and off-road stuff and all that noise out there. It gets a little crazy in the summer. But if you're an off-roader or a Jeeper, that's great. 72 in Sturgeon Bay.
That sounds wonderful.
Is that the water temperature?
I doubt it.
I wonder if it couldn't be the water temperature this early.
No.
Not up off of the big lake. No. But I saw that the water temperature, I know in the Gulf, is incredibly hot. Gulf of Mexico already. Jeff Cosmos.
I have a 2023 F-150 with tow package. Looking at a smaller trailer, 20 to 22 foot, what's your opinion of single axle versus dual axle?
Well, you'll have more of a challenge in a really small travel trailer finding a double axle. A dual axle is going to tow easier and is going to be a little more stable when you are in it. But if you want a small trailer, you're going to pretty much be stuck with, I think, a single axle. There are some that have double, but double axle gives it more stability. It's easier to tow, and it's easier to be stable when you're parked. So if you can find one, go for it. That'd be a big plus. Gene Newman.
Thank you so much for your recommendation on the handrail by Morad. We installed it last weekend, and it was well worth the investment.
Moride, yeah, Morryde. It's on our Amazon page, and that's the first thing we've installed on our RVs, and it's on our Montana here that we're in now, and we'll probably show everybody. And Moride, by the way, is one of our sponsors for our gathering. We really appreciate their support, as well as, Electric Bikes is one of our sponsors, and we're really delighted to have their support. And we'll probably mention several of the others that are out there, but it's pretty good. Jeff Newman, he's our neighbor here in Southwest Michigan. He's just up the road, but he's going to come past us next week because he's going to Shipshewana.
Yeah, here we come. Can't wait.
Yeah, we look forward to hanging with you, Jeff. We finally get a chance to meet in person. So Jeff's a really good guy. I had to pick up something in Holland, and he offered to drive me back, so I didn't have to have two cars taking me there. But as it worked out, I ended up with a different situation. But what a nice thing to offer. Ty Webb.
Found roof damage due to lack of sealant on some screws. Ooh, used to hold the harnesses for solar. Pleased to say the vendor is working with me to get it rectified. There are some very good companies.
That is so encouraging to hear, Ty. Thank you for sharing that, because we tend to hear about everybody who's got a problem and the vendors don't help. But it's been our experience that most companies, most RV companies are they want you to be happy, and they will bend over backwards. Yes, some of them don't. And then there are issues. And believe me, they have a side in all the debate too. And it's been our experience that most of these companies really do want to have good relationships and be, have happy customers. So glad to hear that's your case, Ty. That's awesome. Sharon.
A question: do you have or plan to do a 7-day guide for the
Pacific Coast Highway? Aren't you glad I know all these acronyms?
Yes, in California. We would like to drive the Pacific Coast Highway, and a guide would be a big help.
It's on our bucket list to do that as an idea. The next one we are doing is going to be on Yosemite in California, Yosemite National Park. But the Pacific Coast Highway would be a good one to do. But it wouldn't be this year, Sharon, or if it would be, it'd be very late this year. So I don't know.
Well, I think that sounds like a great idea.
Oh, you do? You'd like to go do 6 of them. We also wanted to do some on the Carolinas and the South Atlantic states. We can't be everywhere, though.
Hey, Bo's still excited at the idea that he might have to live in Canada.
He probably is. He's going to the Maritimes, so he'll enjoy the cooler weather up there. I think he's going to the Maritimes. Hopefully, we'll straighten out this ridiculous CDC rule for him. Susan Walker.
Hello from the seacoast of New Hampshire. Beautiful day here. Well, we're glad to hear that.
The New Hampshire seacoast is beautiful, even when the days is not beautiful. There's just something magical about that coastline there. Thank you, Susan, for being with us tonight. Despina Reyes.
Heading to Shipshewana, currently in cloudy Grafton, West Virginia.
Wow, you're on your way already. Awesome.
Woo! When are you going to get there?
Yeah. Wendy told me that there's a whole bunch of people coming in. The event starts a week from Tuesday. A week from this Tuesday. And people are coming in on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And she thinks that almost half of our people will be there early. So
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. We hope to be doing our Ask Us Anything from there next Sunday night. So Despina looks forward to seeing you and Peter. Tina Henry.
Congratulations on 500. What year did you start podcasting? I've been listening to you two for a long time.
Thank you, Tina. Well, we started in 2013, we believe, was our first podcast. And I don't know whether that was episode 1. I can't find episode 1. Well, I know where it is. I have it on a hard drive in kind of like a storage area I have in the studio, but I'd have to go through 10 hard drives to find it. And I just don't, since we got to leave, we had to actually work on the podcast early today because we have to do all this shoot this coming week. But at any rate, it was 2013 is when we started. We started the blog and the YouTube channel in 2012. So that's when it all began. Do we plan a guide the Maritimes after the trip? Yeah, probably, Ty. Probably, yep. It's it's a big area, but we probably will do it. We like to do 7 stops, but obviously for the Maritimes we'll do more than that because there's probably, I don't know, 12 stops at least. I just did a rough outline a couple of weeks ago on what we thought we would do, and it's at least 12 stops. But yes, to answer your question, we probably will do one. Just give us time to write it. Jim Rankin stayed in a campground in the Black Hills.
At a check-in, I was told that the city water was gravity fed, so don't use a regulator, or you won't get any water. Have you heard of this before?
I have. Yeah, and gravity is pretty low pressure. But I don't know. I would put a regulator at the spigot and see what the pressure is coming through. If you're close to wherever it comes running down that hill or whatever it is for the gravity, you still don't want to. You don't want it over 50, 60 pounds, or you're going to pop your plumbing. So check it. Even when they tell you that, always just check it. You've nothing. If it's under 50 pounds, great, no problem. You don't have to use it, but always check your water pressure. Alice Chador
Tranquil Timbers, Sturgeon Bay
in Wisconsin. She likes that place.
I can see why.
Doesn't Sturgeon Bay sound like a delightful place to be?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it really does. Chris Mondo Biondo,
RV Lifestyle Friends from Wichita, Kansas.
Chris is doing a really great job. Hi to you and Amy, Chris. A really great job on our in our RV lifestyle community. We have RV weather. This has been such a crazy year for travel with all the severe storms. And Chris has been on his own, just keeping everybody up to date on what the severe weather forecasts for that day happen to be. So if you're doing any traveling, particularly from the Midwest to the West, check out our RV weather discussion space on our RV lifestyle community. And there's the address on your screen, community.rvlifestyle.com. We have like 21, 22 spaces there, discussion spaces, and we'll probably be adding more as people suggest them, but on everything from, selling your own products, your RV products, that you don't use anymore, to finding campgrounds and working from the road and internet and plumbing and electrical spaces for all of those areas to discuss. We're so pleased with the tone of that community that we have set up. It's off Facebook. There's none of that snarky, nasty stuff on Facebook. If you guys haven't joined it, please do. It's community.rvlifestyle.com. And we'd love to have you be a part of it. It's really fun. All right, let's see. Where are we here? Chris Cowley, who there's the address right there. Thank you, Chris, he's so fast, There's the address right there, and you can check it out. So good. Bud Lenardi.
Glad you enjoyed our great state of Arizona. Wish we could have gotten a couple hours way to meet up. Glad you made it home safe too. Well, thank you.
Yeah, we do.
I was really excited about getting to explore for a little bit. That was the world's shortest trip.
It really was.
We did our 12-hour days, and we saw quite a bit.
We did. It were 12-hour days, and it was great.
12-hour days without lunch. I don't do well without lunch.
I've been to Arizona many, many times, and spent a lot of time there actually. But it's the first time I visited the West Grand Canyon, which is part of an Indian reservation. It's not part of the national park, but it is spectacular. And the access there to the canyon itself is really amazing. No guardrails, as Jen pointed out in that video. But we really enjoyed that. And we had fun on the Colorado River, rented a boat and had some fun there. And we just love the desert. I really do love the desert.
It's pretty. So pretty.
And peaceful. It's really great. So in the desert, we saw elk, mule deer, bighorn sheep. What else did I see? Something else, it seems. I don't remember. No snakes. Didn't see any snakes. Didn't see any spiders. Just beautiful countryside. I'm really enjoying it. Let's see. We've got Marta Santiago from Greenville, North Carolina. Hey, Marta, how are you? Wonder where everybody is tonight. It says we have quite a few watching, but Jim said up above he did use a regulator on that and water worked fine. I'm glad you had a regulator on it, Jim, because you just don't know when people say what the pressure is. use your regulator and find out. Same, a water regulator is, I think, is important as a surge protector and as a whole electric monitor management system. Is at the plug you should have at the minimum a special surge protector that will tell you if the wires are crossed or there's a bad ground or they're reversed or low power or brownout. You really want to have knowledge of that. And it's the same thing with water. You want to have knowledge of what that pressure is, so it all works out well. LDD.
When we crossed into then USA from Canada last week, food, etc., vegetables, meat, fruit, and weapons. Only once have we ever been asked to produce the dog's rabies vaccination, and that was years ago. This is something new.
Yeah, we always carry it with us, and we carry it with us in the case, that Bo gets hurt and we got to take him to a strange vet. We've got all of his records with us always, and you all should do that if you travel with the dog or a cat. But we've never been asked going into Canada, and we've never been asked going out. Now it's all going to change August 1st with the CDC suddenly getting involved in all this. Anyway, the questions: do we have firearms, drugs? Yep, that's all they ask. And ammunition. Oh, you came back to Canada. You're from going back into Canada. Yeah, well, Canada, the one thing you want to make sure is you do not bring any of the above. You can have alcohol, and I think you can have tobacco if it's clearly for personal use. But if it's like 6 cases of Chivas Regal or something, they're gonna yell at you, But no guns and no firearms of any sort, and no ammunition. That's going into Canada. So you don't have to worry about it in the U.S. because you're not going to be taking anything in because you can't have it in Canada. Mardo says she was going to go camping this weekend but couldn't get electrical on her trailer, so it's going to the shop. That's no fun, is it?
Especially no, when it doesn't work right.
Steve Anderson, hanging out in Marlboro, New York, Apple Country. He's going to attend Quartzsite in January. Any advice?
Have fun.
Yeah, have fun. I mean, Quartzsite is, and be ready for crowds. I mean, if you're going to be there in January, there's 100,000 people camping in the desert. Not this big desert all around it, but people think they're going to have nice peace and quiet in Quartzsite.
And there really aren't restaurants or stores.
There's a couple of restaurants, but they're for a town of 300, not for 100,000 crazy RVers. Well, you'll see. It's quite entertaining. You will be amazed that
everybody should go there.
There's a huge contingent of, sustenance campers, people who are, doing it as cheaply as they can. Then there's just, a lot of party people. And then there's the people who love to go to the rock and gem show. And then there's a lot of people who like to go to the big tent RV show. And you put them all together, and it's kind of like one massive month-long party in the desert. So you'll have fun. And everybody should see it once. We always time it. We'd go just as it ends, so that the desert's all empty and it's quiet again, but we still have a few people in town. Paula Lewis, she is in the Mojave Desert in California. We were in the Mojave Desert in Arizona. And the difference is, in California, it's Mojave with a J, and in Arizona, it's Mojave County with an H. A little bit of Arizona trivia.
The landscape is beautiful. We saw the rolling hills, and it was just so pretty.
Yeah. Alt Universe is in North Webster, Indiana, not too far from our get-together next week. Yep. We were at a rally ourselves not quite a year ago in Shipshewana, and really like this campground. And Shipshewana is a fun town. I think our people are going to really like it. We've rented a big tent. We'll all hang out around a tent, and it'll be fun. Renee Metrel is at New River Gorge National Park, which is their 49th national park. And did we purchase the Arizona property? I could have been talked into it if they had just asked me, but they didn't. The problem is it's, from our home base in Southwest Michigan, it's just too far away. But the idea of having it would be, I would love it. I'd love to use it. I know our friend Traveling Robert just bought in Arizona. The Matic Fanatic, Eric's got some property there, and a couple other YouTubers that we've met have it. But the stuff we looked at, we looked at 2 different properties actually. We'll probably have another report on a second one later. One of them is 5-acre parcels, and then the one that we went to see this weekend is 1 acre and 2 acres, and there's some distance apart. But I'd love to have some property there. I don't know whether I could use it as much. I mean, we're wishing we could be in Tennessee more, but this is our peak travel time too now, so we can't hit Tennessee. Gordon.
Weather. Still have snow on our mountain passes here in the Western Canada, Vancouver. Strange year. Hot April, wildfires again. Mid-May was mostly like November, wet and cool. June, cold so far, but warming.
Yeah, it's crazy all over, isn't it, Gordon? Well, you're in a beautiful area, but there was a lot of snow, which is really good for the drought. We noticed that even in Arizona, where they don't have snow up by Lake Mead, but Lake Mead was so dry the last few years, and it's coming back, and there were a lot of boats, and the marina looked full, and it's great. So I'm sure that snowpack, as it melts, will help with the drought out there. And Pelican.
On a 4-month trip, camping at Thousand Trails near Bend, Oregon.
4-month trip. Whew, that's great. That's great. We've only stayed at Thousand Trails once, and it was not as a member. It was just an overnight, I think, that we did there. But they were all over the place. Jerry Cornelius in Arizona, when drilling for water, is deep drilling required? They told me no, at least the development we looked at. He said it's 100 feet or something down. But I don't know. Most people opt to have water brought in these big storage things, these storage containers, 2,500 gallons they store, and they tell me that's enough for a year. The water does not go skunky, and then you use solar. Solar is awesome because it's 342 days of sunshine out there. So they use solar to pump the water and have full water. He's got Eric. If you saw the video we did Saturday on the YouTube channel, Eric, maybe Chris will put a link to that video up, but over in the right-hand section. But Eric, man, he's got a great camp, a little ranch that he's built, and he's brought a garden in with, and he's going to have a drip system for it. And then that thing that pulls water out of the air. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think everybody needs that.
Yeah, yeah. Did you see what happened in Atlanta today, everybody? This weekend, there's no water for the whole city of Atlanta. And it made me realize what we saw out there in Arizona, everybody's kind of got their own water systems. They bring in the tanks, and so every year you get a new, and it's not much more than city water having it stored. But I saw this thing, Eric is getting one out there, and it's I think it's $3,000 it cost, but it's like a solar panel, and it actually sucks moisture out of the air, and it gives you this one system that he's getting, gives you enough water for 2 people to survive for whatever you need every day. And I guess it's really good tasting, clean, pure water. So I'll be anxious to see what that's like in person. Maybe it gives us another chance to go out there. Bud Lenardi.
We will be in Grand Canyon at the trailer village in a couple of weeks. Manual leveling, still having hydraulic issues.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah. Well, when your hydraulic system doesn't work and you have to do manual, it's a long process. I thought you had that all fixed, Bud. I saw you talked about that on our RV Lifestyle community, but we'll keep working on it and enjoy the Grand Canyon. Thomas Clark, Pee Wee Valley, and he's going to be with us next week in Indiana.
Awesome.
Yeah, look forward to seeing the Clarks. Roger Berger.
Speaking of land, I've been out of the loop. Did you sell Tennessee?
No, we decided to keep Tennessee and still have it. In fact, since we briefly thought about selling it, and then when it became clear that there was a lot of people who were interested in it, we said, well, maybe we don't want to sell it. And so instead, we put in a new concrete pad for our fifth wheel, this Montana that we're in, and I've got some other plans for it now. But nope, we still have Tennessee. Helen Newsom.
Have you ever visited Chattanooga, Tennessee?
And the Chickamauga battlefield. We have Lookout Mountain. Yep. I don't know if they still have them, but Sea Rock City and Lookout Mountain. They used to have these roadside signs all the way north along I-75 and all the way, from basically Alabama up through Michigan, because they all would kind of choke point through Chattanooga, and it's Sea Rock City, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And Lookout Mountain. And we have been to Lookout Mountain, where I think you can see 7 states, if I remember right, something like that. Beautiful area. Roy Annette.
Still struggling with the tow or not to tow issue. Have e-bikes. After years of following, listening to you, we finally pulled the trigger on a Tiffin Wayfair. TW. Thank you for all the great info.
Yeah, that's a nice rig, the Wayfarer. I don't know what you're going to tow. I think a car. You want to tow a car before it. The problem with Class C's, Class B's, and towing an e-bike is, e-bikes are so darn heavy. They're 70 pounds. I just got a new one. Just got my new electric 3.0, and it is every bit of 70 pounds. I have a basket on it, and it's just hard to tow. It's what's really hard is getting it up on a hitch.
Well, it sounds like,
or in my case, getting it
better than one.
Yeah,
except if you can catch me or find me.
If I can't ever find you, and then getting it. In my case, I'm going to try and carry it in the back of the truck, or I can probably bring it in the fifth wheel and strap it over someplace over that way.
Don't you be poking a hole in my sofa.
Okay, I'll post it this way then. Hike and RV.
Misquoted you guys this week. Your 3 rules for traveling. Number 1, be at the campground by 3:30. 2, don't drive more than 3 hours 30 minutes. And can't recall if correct or the others.
Actually, you got it.
I think you got it.
It's you don't drive any. Well, actually, yeah. It's don't drive more than 330 miles. Number 1. 2. Arrive by 3:30. Stop driving at 3:30 in the afternoon, or if you get a late start, you want to do it driving no more than 330 miles. The point is that you drive any more than 330 miles or 3 hours and 30 minutes, you are going to be physically too tired to really enjoy the trip. There's something about a lot of us, including me, that gets really competitive that, well, I got 500 miles to go. I'm going to do it in a day. And you can, but you'll get there usually after dark, which is never ideal. That's when mistakes happen and you do things wrong or out of order or don't see, bump into stuff, and you're tired. You're really tired. I have found, and it might be an age thing because the older you get, the harder long distance travel is. But I have found that, I can do a long distance because we'll often drive from our Tennessee property all the way back to southwestern Michigan, which is 549 miles. And I can do it. And the next day I'm up and I'm doing fine with work, but it's the second day that it just nails me and I'm really tired. So I'm done my best. You've talked me now into the, we're going to make, if it's 500 miles, we're going to make 2 days out of it. Right?
Mm-hmm. I try
till my competitive side. I can do it, and you can. So anyway, did you get that? No more than 330 miles. Stop by 3:30, and don't drive more than 3 hours and 30 minutes if you end up, getting a late start, something like that. So hope that helps. Oguita and Luis.
My husband and I want a Class B. Do you know if we can given trade in our truck 2020 GMC diesel, we want to do it with the bank, not with the RV dealers. Which do you think is the best way to start?
I think the best way to start is to sell it yourself. If you do a trade-in at the dealer, you've already figured that out. They're going to lowball you. The bank doesn't take trade-ins. At least I don't know of any bank that does. So your best thing is, if that's what you need to buy this thing, is to sell it outright yourself. So there's no middle person involved. That's the best way to do it. I would not trade it in, because they might say, oh, we'll give you, let's just say you're, what is it, 2020? Just say that, it's worth, Blue Book, say it's worth 40,000. And say the trailer you're going to buy is worth 60,000. So they might say, the dealer will say, well, you know what? We're going to give you 50,000 for the truck. And then they're going to add another $10,000 onto the cost of the trailers. I just don't do it with the dealer. And the bank isn't going to do it. Just sell the truck yourself. And maybe you find, depending on how many miles, I would think your value is probably more in the 32,000 maybe for a GMC diesel 2020, something like that. But you'll get much more selling it yourself and not going through the bank with it or with the dealer. So sell it first and then buy. Hope that made sense, and enjoy. Mike Rademacher.
Let's see. Hi, Mike and Jennifer. Can't meet up with you guys this year, conflicting with our already planned schedule. Really enjoying our road trek we purchased at Hershey in 2021. Mike and Sharon from Ohio.
Glad to hear it. I can't believe all these people that plan that far out in advance. We just were figuring it out today. We're lucky if we plan a month out in advance. Really, we've learned.
Well, maybe there's weddings or
we can't plan that far out because
to get
too many things happen.
Work,
yeah. I guess if you're still working, that's also part of it. I don't know. Mm-hmm. All right, last call for our new book that came out just a few days ago, and thank you all to the many people who've already ordered it and who have it in hand. It's an instant download. It's an ebook, and have sent us great conversation on it. We appreciate it. It's a guide to the Bourbon Trail, explorer's guide to the Bourbon Trail, and we're really happy with the book. It came out great. It looks great. Lots of links, lots of great videos that you can access through the links in the book, and of course all of our books. You can check them all out. But go, please check out that one. All right, 500th podcast episode comes out on Wednesday, and we hope you'll get a chance to look at that. Watch our social media this week. We'll share some of the RVs that we hope to start reviewing as soon as tomorrow, if all goes well. And then we'll see you hopefully next Sunday right back here, where we will be coming to you from Shipshewana and our summer meetup at Groove and Gather, where we'll get a whole bunch of people going to Shipshewana, and the highlight is we're going to groove with the Temptations. The original Temptations. Well, not all of them. A couple of them have gone on, but most of them are still there. So it's going to be a fun show. All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much for spending your Sunday night with us.
Happy trails.